Hey everybody, this is Grace, and I am on my way once again to see yet another healthcare provider. This one is another cardiologist. I saw one once and didn't like him. Plain and simple, I just did not like him. Nope, he was rude and he was the kind that, like a dictator. Like last year, that woman, she was not a cardiologist, but I don't want any healthcare provider that thinks that they're the boss and they're going to dictate to me what's going to happen and I'm just going to accept it. Nope, it's not how it works. It's not provider-centered, it's patient-centered. It's not about the provider's ego. I learned this in graduate school, by the way. Hello, Horsey. But, yeah, you know, that's not how it works. Plain and simple. It's not going to work for me that way. So anyway, I'm going to go to this one today. Let's see how he is. And it was kind of weird. I put the, spoke the address and to my phone, and it came up an address that said, I know that's not there. That's my other doctor's office. It was totally different places, totally different suburbs of Dallas. I'm in the northern part of Dallas, and no, northern part of Texas. Hello. But anyway, so I don't know what it was thinking. I put it in again. So this is like, feels like it's going to be a straight shot practically. So but watch me get there, and they say no, we're that, because these doctors here, they will have offices at usually 3 locations. 3. Seriously. I guess one of them is their hometown, and it's usually a small town. And that's usually what, at least 2. But one of them is a small town. Then they have one over here, and then they have yet another one over here. Okay, well, it's not me that's getting tailgated by a Bubba truck. Usually by this time I've been tailgated at least once, and quite often it's a Bubba truck. So, Bubba trucks used to be old trucks, and I could go on from there to describe them, but these days they're even new ones. Okay, and usually the trucks are white. Quite often. Now I'm not saying every truck that's white or every truck is a Bubba truck. No, you can tell the difference. For one thing, they think they own the road. You can tell that because they tailgate. Hello. So, that's my view, of course. Your experience may be different. But I am Texan after all. Anyway, boy, I said a lot in that sentence. People go, you're right. Okay, oh yeah. Anyway, I'm on my way to that. And I probably will say a bunch of nervous stuff by the time I get there. I don't know if I'm really nervous. I think I'm kind of getting desensitized. So much in this past 2 years. So many problems. So much weirdness with my body going on in this past almost 2 years. Yeah, really. And I think I'm just... But as far as healthcare providers, that's been past 2-3 decades. Wait, how about 61 years? Okay. Really. Unbelievable, some of the stuff I've seen and heard, and you would not believe, seriously. But anyway, I'm hopefully Adam was going to go with me, but then he found a reason not to. He was the one who said he wanted to go with me. Then he found a reason he shouldn't. So I'm like, I don't really care, either way, because as I learned last year with that woman that stuck her finger, the doctor that stuck her finger in my face and then stuck it in his more than once, twice. Yeah, it doesn't matter if he's there or not. Behind those closed doors, they just say whatever they want to. And I never returned her, by the way. She told me she's going to tell me what to do, and I'm going to mind her. What the crap does she think she is? Are you going to tell a Texan woman you're going to mind me? Yeah, she wasn't from this country, by the way. Not that it makes a difference. There are plenty of people here from this country that are just as bad. But, you know, when somebody does something like, she checked my phone to see if I have an app that I could use for something, you know, for one of those machines that you to test the glucose. No, she was checking to see if I was recording her. Well, I should have taken it back and started recording her. She was so verbally abusive. Apparently she has the reputation. 2:59. And hey, this is, wow, this is amazing. This is spring break week here. So, yeah. Okay, but anyway, let me get back to this about that doctor. I'm hoping that I remember to ask things like, you know, when I can go back to work, when can I continue with my physical therapy on what I was doing physical therapy on before all this. And I only went, I think, 3 or 4 times because of the weird health situation, weird health conditions that would just come up. Seriously, you know, and so it's time I get busy with it, really. And then they have to do some kind of cardiac rehabilitation. It said to ask the doctor, you know, on the discharge papers. I was only in the ER, I wasn't admitted, but they give a book, a little novelette maybe, on after you leave. And it said to ask them these questions, this question and that question. So I think it's just kind of generic. But I did read in what he had told me. The cardiologist in the ER had told me that it was not one to get all worried about. You know, basically, to sum it all up, to paraphrase, not to get all worried about all this. Because it was like, you know, this is just a warning one. Hello, wake up, do this. And that kind of thing. And on the diagnose that's on my portal, it basically said beginning. You know, it says something like that. That basically said the same thing. That this is not yet the full or whatever. It was weird. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna get him to explain all that. And hopefully he's not one of those that cuts me off mid-sentence when he first walks in. He asks me an open-ended question. I say 2 words and he cuts me off. I had one like that. It wasn't a cardiologist, it was a PCP. Went to him only once. So, no thank you. You know, I'm tired. I'm 20. One of the kinds of doctors that I need for all this, for not this one, not the cardiologist. I need the cardiologist for this problem. There's my rare health condition. I've been trying to find one for 25 years. So that was what that one was from last year, the one that stuck her finger in my face and then in Adam's. And you will make sure she does. Nobody's gonna mind you, crazy woman. Really. The nerve of some people. I'm serious. And you know, some people say, oh, it's just poor bedside manner. No, we're no longer calling it that. We're going to call a spade. And that is, it's verbal abuse. Plain and simple. Some kind of verbal abuse. Yeah. And since it's coming from your doctor, you know, let's think through that. Just, I'll give you a moment. Think it through. Okay, anyway. So hopefully I'll get the answers to those questions. I don't like having too many questions, you know, because sometimes going to these, and Adam feels the same way when he's gone with me. There's just so much information that comes out that is really, a lot of it is like double talk BS, you know, and it's not, I mean, something so simple, should be just a simple diagnosis. That's what it should be, something very simple. But instead, they just like filling a bunch of BS in there, just a bunch of words in there that don't need to be in there. It's weird. He's like, did they say anything really? Does any of that make any sense? And both of us feel the same way, you know. But he would go with me. I would hope that he would catch the things that I wasn't catching and all that. But have something that's like, there's just too much stuff, you know. And it's just a bunch of stuffing. There's a good word for it. They're just stuffing words in there. Instead of saying, hey, this is the diagnose. Why can't they diagnose? I know, I mean, I'm not stupid. But really, I mean, my suspicion would be they don't want to put their name on it in case they're wrong. You know what I'm saying? And if they're wrong, exactly. So, I don't know if all these places around here. But anyway, I'm going to turn on my, put it on my, what's it called? The GPS. Okay, I made it here. Actually, let's see, right at this moment it is 35 minutes. I'm ahead, but then again, at the same time I did mine online, so I had another 15 minutes. So I'm ahead of time. I didn't think it would go this fast. It went pretty fast. But usually there's some kind of road construction, and there was no road construction. So anyway, but on this last leg of the road, basically, you know, earlier I was saying at least I'm not being tailgated. Somebody in front of me was, and on down the road. But on this one, before I turned this this corner to come here, there was somebody, she was in, I think it was a woman, she was in the lane next to me, and then she whipped her SUV in between mine and the one in front of me. Okay, she almost got hit. And then she tailgated the woman in front of her, or the person in front of her, the whole rest of the way, until that woman, that person in front of her, we turned and went to the far right, and I went to the far left. So, and she got in the middle, the one that was tailgating, the tailgater got in the middle. But, you know, it's like, come on, people, what is your problem? You gotta tailgate people? And she wasn't getting anywhere any faster than me, nor the one in front of her. That's what always makes me laugh, is like I tell Adam, and it's very true, once I get to like the next big light, I wave at them as I pass them by. You know, the ones that are tailgating me, and then they go whipping in and out of all the traffic to get, they gotta get in front of everybody, and I just wave at them as I pass them by. Anyway, I want to say this, today is day 11 since I have been diagnosed, and you know, I was in the ER, and somebody finally decided to diagnose. It's you know, like I said, I haven't said this one, congestive heart failure, and he just said heart failure, and he said, but it's a really harsh term for what it is, but and don't think of it as that bad. And so that's why I'm saying all that. But anyway, 11 days since I was diagnosed. They put me on, they gave me an injection there, and they made me stay for a while in the ER of Lasix, and then I'm on Lasix now. Probably, maybe, I gotta ask that too, but I'm guessing it's probably going to be forever. So but 11 days, 11 pounds. That's right, 11 pounds less, 11 pounds loss. Water weight, some they would call it water weight, but I mean, some people do, but you know, it's not water, just water weight. But anyway, fluid weight. Yeah, I've been complaining all since 2023, and this is 2025. been complaining, what is this weight gain? What is this swelling? What, 3 times in the ER in 2023. I don't know how many times last year, mainly 2, I would say. But I'd been, maybe it was every time. And they just wouldn't diagnose. And then now this year, finally somebody diagnoses it. Wow. Yeah. So, but this weight gain was crazy. Almost 50 pounds. 50. Oh my goodness. It was just so horrible to try to carry this weight around. Seriously. But anyway, and then it started filling. They said it was filling up my legs. Who said that? Somebody did. But I'd already had edema, but it started getting worse. It started going up the leg, up past the knee, up above the knee, which is But my left knee was my right knee. I was fixated on it when I went to the ER. And I'm sitting there, I'm on the phone with Adam, I'm saying, you wouldn't believe how big my knee is. The other one was big too, but just not as big. And it was like 3 times, and I couldn't even see the bone of the knee. And mine always shows. I think everybody says, doesn't it? Unless they have something like this. But it was, where was the bone? It was so swollen. Now, that went off pretty fast. But then above it was real swollen. All of it from there on was swollen. And I'm seeing a lot of stuff is going on. In case I pause like this, that's because some people are walking around, and I'm kind of curious who goes here. Watch me be the young person again. Quite often I'm the young person. But I've seen 2 and they're older. 2 different ones. The person next to me is sitting there with their window open in the back because there's a dog back there. Luckily, it's a big old Bubba truck. Luckily, I don't have to go on that side, get out on that side. But anyway, squirrel moment. But we'll see. I'm going to go in there. I might be in the wrong place. I better go in there. Okay, I decided not to go in just yet, but I just had a little laugh sitting here. I amuse myself. Somebody has to. But I looked, I said this, on the one side of me is a Bubba truck. On the other side of me is a BMW. And this is Texas. I made myself laugh. Hey, something. But it is kind of like that. One side, there's going to be a Bubba truck. On the other side, there's going to be a more expensive vehicle. Yeah. Anyway. Figured I got another, let's see, about, too much time. 40 minutes, maybe. It just depends. Sometimes you go in there, I don't know about this one. Hello, doggy. He stuck his head out this door, looking at me like, who are you? But from the Bubba truck. Sometimes you go into these places and they make you sit forever. I remember when I was a child. That's how it used to be. But I don't think my mother ever scheduled an appointment. And I don't know if you did schedule appointments back there, because that's all I knew. Is that we went in and we got there maybe early in the morning, and we weren't seen until, like 5 o'clock or something, or hours later. And that seemed to be the norm. But it could be because my mother wouldn't schedule an appointment, And I was just thinking about how, ever since I was a kid, I've seen this. And I mentioned this in several videos. When I was a child now, remember, child, I'd say these women, it was always women who work at these doctor's offices, they must be somebody special. They act like, the way they act and the way they seem so special. As I got older, however, I realized, is that they had this, far too often there was at least one who had a superiority complex. You know, that's generally masks an inferiority complex, but yeah, they thought of themselves as always special, and I've ever since then, I'll look for that to see who is that person who is going to be, like I'm saying, it's not everybody who works at a doctor's office. I worked in orthospinal neurosurgeons' offices. Not all the same people, not all the same offices. Back when I was a career student. And there was generally somebody there who thought that they were, just superior to everybody else. Oh my goodness. It's like it's part of the culture, practically. Now, this is, various places here. It's not be the same experience you have wherever you are, so. But that has been my experience consistently. I'm 61, consistently. Yeah. All right. You're gonna hit it. Ooh. You get a little bit too close over there to the curb. But okay, they say they're driving like me on a bad day. And I'm like, how am I gonna get? Am I in there in this space right? This SUV, it only has 20,728 miles on it. Well, I need new glasses. Oh, I'm supposed to go get some new glasses. I got the prescription, never went. But anyway, so I've had it new since May of 2019, and you see how many miles it has on it. Not very many for it to be that long. We bought it brand new. But I'm telling you, it's like the weirdest thing to try to park. It just is not easy to park. I've never, in all my life, I've been driving since I was 15. We started training back then at 15. And I've never had a problem parking, ever. Except this one. And that is when it's going into the parking spot. And I did parallel parking one time more than one time, but one of the times it was so amazing, it was amazing to me. I managed to get in this tight parking spot. It was in front of a high-rise, and it was, Adam was going to get out and I was going to stay in, but I got it in there so easily. And this is my first vehicle that has it helps you to park, the, whatever that thing's called. That's my first one. And it works. But I did it the old-fashioned way, to start off. And I would watch it, but I was doing it the old-fashioned way of parallel parking. So, anyway, but this isn't Texas. We don't parallel park that often, unless you work. Well, not even mainly in old historic downtowns or really. Maybe in the big cities. This one's pretty big all to itself, so. But yeah, parallel parking is generally not a thing, but this is Texas. We have a lot of wide open spaces. So anyway, now I'm gonna try to go in there. Okay. The appointment lasted 20 minutes. It's supposed to be 30. They have actually put 30 in there. But I have to say this, okay? I walked in. It's a nice, beautiful kind of place. It's got like it's really big waiting room right when you walk in there. Boom, it is. And it's like high vaulted ceilings. Really nice. But being hit with the smell of body odor, really bad. It's really open, really big vaulted ceilings. That's what I'm saying. It's really open. And to be hit with such a strong smell of body odor, whew, and it's not mine. So it was like, oh my gosh, oh my goodness. But the rooms, the office, where you go to each individual room, the whole hallway and all of it back there did not smell. But the front one, oh my gosh, it was awful. But anyway, the doctor, he seemed really, really, really young. And he didn't seem very, it's kind of like the doctor who diagnosed me in the ER. Like it's not that big of a deal yet. That kind of thing. But then again, he wants to run some tests, so apparently it's a big enough deal to run some tests. So anyway, and I tried calling Adam after I left because it's 3 o'clock. It's exactly 3 o'clock right now. And I haven't eaten today. I've not had a meal today, I should say. Yeah, and I'll try to call him to see if he wanted something. He probably went and took a nap or something. Yeah, it's usually what he and the dogs do about this time of the day. So I don't know if he's going to want something or not. So, oh well. Okay, and as far as PT, physical therapy, I can do it. So I start doing it this week again. Start back this week. And I have to go back in for labs, and then I have to do another, I think she said EKG. And they're going to do some other kind of test. I don't remember which one. I forgot. I don't think they said. They said that they were going to run some other test. I think that's the way between him and the other two people. I think they're MAs. I don't know. One of them's an MA. I don't know what the other one is. But maybe she's the PA. Could be. I think so. Anyway, I can go back to work. I can. Yay! He said, if you're feeling okay, you feel like doing it, I'm all for it. Go ahead. Just watch. Be careful. Watch it. That kind of thing. If you start feeling like you felt before, stop. So he seems so young. Man, I'm getting old, I guess. Actually, I made myself laugh about that. Every once in a while, I have to make myself laugh. When I was in the ER that day, I told myself, I'm new at getting old. I am new at getting old. That's what it feels like. I'm getting old. Actually, it started when I was 59. So much changed all of a sudden. I don't think of myself as old at this age, of course, but still. Yeah. Hey, anyway. You would think there would be some restaurants to the right of me, but apparently not. I got in the far right lane. I think this is the second time I've done something like this on this road. But anyway. No, it all went pretty fast. I mean, it was pretty fast, but that smell when I walked back out, it was like, oh my gosh, and I can see that they probably wouldn't put any kind of, spray or something. These are people who, have heart problems or have, they're older people problems, I guess you'd say. Not always, of course, but people in their 60s and up say, for a good part. Like I said, I figured they would probably be older than I. And my age or older. And pretty much that was so. I didn't stare at everybody, but I could pretty much tell. But anyway, that's enough for that. But I still got so many appointments now. But I'm ready to get back to work because this is the beautiful weather days. The beautiful weather. This is north of Dallas. Except for the bad problem, like today's windy and tomorrow's windy. And we're under this red flag. They call it red flag warning for fire, and the air can be pretty bad. Really pretty bad. And I've already had a couple of nosebleeds from just the air. That's what, I can't really tell if that's what it is, but there's very little humidity outside, and inside it's like in the 20s, and that's not good. It says, anything I read, I don't know, I'm not an expert on this, but it said 30 to 35 is, anything under that is bad air quality, you know, the humidity being that low. Yeah, it's been like that. What, you know, I mean, this is crazy. We don't have all these problems. This is all new to me, you know, new to us. But as far as the way it looks outside and how it feels, fine. But that, like that other day, the haze was weird. It was dust. It was really bad dust. So I guess I am not going to run across any restaurant on this side. And of course there's somebody right next to me when I want to go over there. Yep. I'm gonna go over here. Okay, you can go. I cannot see unless you go. Okay, I stopped here at Wendy's to get us something. You know, I still suffer from sticker shock. I don't know, what did Adam and I do? Did we stay away from getting any kind of fast food or any kind of restaurant food for years? Or is it, I mean, I guess in a way we did, but it's not been our norm. But the past couple, 2 or 3 years maybe. And not a norm every once in a while, but still, it's like, what the heck happened to all the prices? I know there's that inflation. I know it's been around for a while, but this one is not as bad, but some of these places are crazy. Their prices are just unbelievable. You know, when you go through a drive-through for 2 people and it winds up being like $40 for just 2 people. It's not like you're going to have a whole lot of leftovers or something. Me, I'm always going to have leftovers. That's how I am. It's just how it is. I don't eat all that much at one sitting, so. But Adam, he just eats the whole meal. So, it's crazy. It's crazy. And then there's that shrinkflation. You know, Adam was the first one to tell me, say shrinkflation to me. I said, that's exactly what it is. Some of these places, they like the burger used to be one size, and then these days it's like really tiny. You're like, where's the beef again? And then they raise the price. It's crazy. I know. I'm just grumbling. Anyway, I think I'm wrapping this up.